Good evening, Mr. Rogues here with yet another video for you. This time I'm gonna talk about a pretty interesting phenomenon. Villains who are mistakenly believed to be Batman villains. But they're not. They're not Batman villains. This is a very strange phenomenon. Batman has a habit of sucking villains from other rogues galleries to his rogues gallery for some weird reason. I'm gonna talk about 4 villains in this video, and I'm not gonna rank them in any specific order. First, I want to start off with the Clock King, a pretty obvious one. Clock King is actually the first villain who was ever subjected to this odd phenomena. In the comics, he's always been an enemy of Green Arrow, but in the 1960s already, he was used for the Batman TV show. I mean, I guess they wanted to use a time-themed villain, and there he was in the DC universe, the Clock King, so they just picked him. Not that weird, I suppose, but then it happened again 30 years later in Batman the Animated Series. And this is arguably the Clock King's most famous appearance even. When people think of Clock King, they usually think of his 2 appearances on this show. And that wasn't the last time it happened either, because he also made numerous appearances on the cartoon show Batman the Brave and the Bold. Why is this always happening to Clock King? Why is he always making appearances on Batman shows? It's kinda strange, to be honest. Especially considering there are plenty other time-themed rogues in the DC universe, like the Time Commander and Cronus, but they never really picked them. They always picked the Clock King. And this has of course led most people to mistakenly believe that the Clock King is a Batman villain, which he is not actually. He is an enemy of Green Arrow. There are plenty of Green Arrow stories in the comics featuring Clock King as the villain, but there are basically no Batman stories featuring him as the villain. They've barely met at all in the comics. This specific rogues gallery transplant really bugs me, because Green Arrow has so few villains. He has a very tiny rogues gallery, if you can even call it a rogues gallery, and Batman has a massive rogues gallery. He doesn't really need to take Green Arrow's Clock King. Let Ollie keep Clock King. He needs him badly. Now luckily Clock King has made a few appearances on the Arrow TV show. However, that doesn't seem to have made much of an impact, as people still consider him a Batman villain. I would rather they just picked the Time Commander and made him a Batman villain, because he rarely ever makes any appearances, and he originated in a Brave and the Bold issue featuring a team-up between Green Lantern and Batman. So he has origins with Batman. If you wanna pit Batman against a time-themed rogue, just pick the Time Commander instead and leave Clock King alone. Keep him for Green Arrow stories. And the next villain I wanna bring up is one that really bugs me. Deathstroke. Deathstroke is not a Batman villain. Just stop. Just stop it. I get so annoyed when people call him a Batman villain. He does not belong in the Batman Rogues Gallery. He does not. Deathstroke is the arch nemesis of the Teen Titans. The Teen Titans, not Batman. Sure, he's faced Batman a few times in the comics, but he's faced a ton of heroes in the DC universe. He's basically faced every single hero there is in the DC universe. Yeah, it's just, it annoys me so much, because we see it so often. I mean, there was even rumors that Deathstroke was gonna be the main villain in the unproduced solo Batfleck movie. And that really annoyed me. What, are you gonna waste an entire Batman movie on a villain who isn't even a Batman villain? It all started, of course, with the game Arkham Origins. Ever since that game, people have been saying that Deathstroke is a Batman villain. Before that, I never heard it. I guess that boss fight against him, that pretty awesome boss fight, just left such an impression on people. But other than that, he really hasn't interacted a whole lot with Batman, and he's appeared in lots of other stuff outside of the comics, like several Teen Titans cartoons and the Arrow TV show. Yet people are still calling him a Batman villain. Well, stop it. Just stop it. Stop calling Deathstroke a Batman villain. He's not a Batman villain. And I really do not ever want to see Deathstroke in a Batman movie. If you want to see Batman fight some mercenary badass in a live-action movie, just go with KG Beast. He can basically fill the exact same role, and he is a Batman villain. KG Beast should be the Deathstroke of the Batman Rogues Gallery, not Deathstroke. He already has his own Rogues Gallery over in the Teen Titans. I feel like he's too overpowered for Batman anyway. I mean, this guy's supposed to be the perfect fighter and an expert with all kinds of weapons, swords, guns, whatever. I mean, he should be able to kick the crap out of Batman without even breaking a sweat. How is that fair? With such a powerful guy, I think it makes more sense pitting him against an entire team where several members even have superpowers. That's more of an even fight. I mean, didn't this guy once wipe the floor with the entire Justice League? How's Batman on his own supposed to fight that? Anyway, moving on to the next one, and the next one is Ragdoll. Now, Ragdoll is considered a Batman villain for a very silly reason, namely for the fact that he appeared on one episode on the cartoon show The Batman. That's right, he appeared on one episode in one cartoon 15 years ago. That's it. That's the only interaction Ragdoll has ever had with the Dark Knight. Yet people still consider him a Batman villain. Now, Ragdoll is not a Batman villain. He is a Flash villain. Specifically an enemy of the original Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick. He's faced Jay Garrick and various other members of the Justice Society on numerous occasions over the decades. And he's also faced the modern Flash, Barry Allen, several times. If he's gonna be associated with anyone, it should be the Flashes, in my opinion. Now, since Jay Garrick rarely ever gets solo stories these days, you might as well just make him an enemy of Barry Allen. He's also appeared on the CW Flash TV show. Yet still nobody cares, and that old episode of The Batman still carries so much weight that people are still claiming that Ragdoll is a Batman villain. I don't even know. Why the Batman gotta have all the villains? Just let some other people have some rogues. And yeah, I admit it, the Flash is a rare case of another DC hero, a non-Batman DC hero who does have quite a few rogues. So, you could also, if you don't really want to give yet another rogue to him, you could just have him be a member of the Injustice Society and have him fight the Justice Society. He's done that several times, and he can keep on doing that. Make him a bit more prominent in the stories, perhaps, use him a bit more than he is, but do not make him a Batman villain. Luckily, that doesn't seem to be what DC is doing, because they're not really putting him in any more Batman stuff. It really was just that one episode, but for some reason the fans can't let go of it. Well, I'm here to tell you now here today to forget it. It happened once, okay? Get over it. He's not a Batman villain. It was a one-time thing. Move on. Let go of Ragdoll. Let the Flashes and the Justice Society have him. Not everybody needs to be a Batman villain. And finally, the last rogue I want to talk about is maybe a bit of a controversial one, because a lot of people really want him to be a Batman villain. And this is Solomon Grundy. You obviously knew that as he's in the thumbnail. Wait, what? Solomon Grundy is not a Batman villain, you say? That's true, he's not. He originated in Green Lantern comics, specifically the original Golden Age Green Lantern, Alan Scott. And he's faced Alan Scott several times, as well as many other members of the Justice Society and the entire team as well. And he's another rogue like Ragdoll, who's been a long-time member of the Injustice Society. Solomon Grundy has a very long history with the Justice Society and its various members. And he's also faced numerous other DC heroes like Superman. But you don't see anyone calling him a Superman villain, why not? The thing is though, of course, that Solomon Grundy made an appearance in one of the most famous Batman comics of all time, The Long Halloween. And that wasn't the first time he made an appearance in a Batman comic, but it is the most important one and it seems to have left a very big impact. And in later years, he's begun to make appearances in Batman stuff outside of comics, like for instance a very memorable appearance in the game Arkham City, and he also appeared on the Gotham TV show, and probably other stuff as well. So it just keeps on going on and on and on, and it doesn't seem like he's gonna stop appearing in Batman stuff anytime soon. So they're just gonna keep on perpetuating this incorrect idea that Solomon Grundy is a Batman villain. I have no problems with Solomon Grundy facing Batman every now and then, but he's a villain I feel should really travel around the DC universe, because that's what he's basically been doing in the comics since forever. Sure, he originated in Alan Scott comics, but very early on he's been moving on to other heroes. I mean, he's basically faced them all. But I do not think that Grundy should be linked to the Batman Rogues Gallery. The simple fact is, Batman doesn't need more villains. He has massive amounts of villains. The other DC heroes need villains. I don't know why it's so easy for a DC villain to get the reputation of being a Batman rogue just because they make one appearance in something with Batman. That's what I'm talking about, this weird phenomena, Batman sucking all these rogues to him like a black hole. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I guess that's it for this video. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this weird phenomena. What you think about these specific 4 villains. Do you think they should be Batman villains permanently? Or do you agree with me that they should kind of stay away from Gotham and stick to their original rogues galleries? Because Batman already has enough villains. And a lot of Batman villains don't get enough attention. So why do we gotta keep giving him more, fighting for the little attention they can get? And also let me know down in the comments if you can think of any other villains that have become victims to this phenomena. And of course, as always, remember, Arkham Asylum awaits you in the next video.